Religion at the Edge is the final product of a comprehensive study of the religious and spiritual landscape of the Pacific Northwest bioregion. When I arrived here almost 15 years ago, after living for decades in Winnipeg, Hamilton, and Montreal, it was clear to me right away that there was something quite distinctive about this space. By this I don't mean just that the place is very pretty, although of course it is. I really mean that the whole bioregion, often called Cascadia, stands apart from the rest of the continent. I came up with the idea for an international interdisciplinary research project because I had a kind of a hunch that the patterns I was seeing were distinctly regional, which is to say both that the border might not mean as much here as it does elsewhere, and that there might be something about the geography of the region that could help us understand why religion, spirituality, and secularity look different here than elsewhere. In my view, one of the most fundamental features of this region is the presence of something I've described as reverential naturalism, which is an approach to the natural world that accepts scientific approaches to nature, but nonetheless frames the natural world in ways that are suggestive of its unique and often sublime power. Reverential naturalism is a form of naturalism rather than a form of spirituality or a new religion. And this is a subtle shift that reflects a long-standing move away from conventional religious narratives. In some sense, I think this is really the default orientation of the region. This approach to the natural world is, I think, the beginning point of our engagement with one another in Cascadia, regardless of whether one might also be conventionally religious. The region's, in some sense, the perfect laboratory for thinking about the ways a society in which conventional religion no longer has the foothold it once had, nevertheless features a mix of yoga studios, Chinese language megachurches, massive temples, conventional churches, and a dominant public ethos that is rather indifferent to capital R religion. I think this has really always been a place for settlers to get away from social, moral, and religious conventions. The history of settlement, however, is quite complicated, and there is some real darkness here, from the terrible mistreatment of indigenous peoples to systemic marginalization of Asian and African American communities. Now, the project includes historians, anthropologists, sociologists, and religious studies scholars. The book is edited by Patricia O'Connell-Killen, an American historian, and Sarah Wilkins of Flam, a Canadian sociologist, and me from Religious Studies. Thanks to funding from the Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council, we conducted a professional survey, oral histories, focus groups, individual interviews, archival research, and participant observation fieldwork. Our approach to this large pool of new data makes the book fresh and I think quite cohesive. One of our interview subjects said he was always told that Cascadia is the land of tomorrow. I think that insight captures pretty well the complex openness one finds here, and I think Religion at the Edge is a good critical engagement of the region's distinctive approach to religion, spirituality, secularity, and the natural world.